Hey guys, it's Navonod. Going to be doing some poker playing at the micro, lower, medium stakes. I'm just going to open up all three and just see what pops up first. There's a $10 heads up, sit and go, and we will just play that one. Alright, so then we're going to be doing a video on $10 heads up, sit and goes. Pretty easy to get along with that way. My bankroll is pretty small, but I can always just put more money on if I do go broke. I'm trying to run it up. I started with absolutely nothing, frequent player points. I cashed out, forgot I had anything. And one day I realized I've got frequent player points. I played a pretty long, like 5-hour tournament, and I took 31st place out of like 3,000 players, which was good for $2.50, something like that. And I've grinded that up to a little over 200 now, so. And so on and so forth. So we're pretty comfortable at $10 buy-in anyway. Pretty bad hand, but I do have position and I am getting a price that's pretty reasonable, like a 5 to 1. So there's a pretty good chance Villain's not awesome at poker. He just laid me 5 to 1 in position, and then he checked the flop to me. So hopefully he's got aces, and that's just him being sneaky. I am a little leery, and I took the price just hoping to flop something. But I think now he's checked twice, and we've got some equity. Overcard plus the gut shot. Wow. Huh. So he 3-bet that small, and then checked the flop, checked the turn, folded to a bet. I mean, I half thought he would just because of how he was playing the hand. I mean, you wouldn't think that he'd have a ton of value hands after checking again, but it's just hard to believe that he would min 3-bet me. I mean, this is the nice thing about playing NL10. When you play NL20 or NL30 heads up, you very, very rarely find somebody that's just sitting down and giving their money away. At NL10, most of the players are pretty competent. I mean, you don't have like major, huge glaring leaks, but you'll usually, if you're a pretty good player, have a slight edge. You'll have slightly the best of it, and then just every once in a while you'll sit down against a total fishbowl that'll just like give you stacks. So I think that's what we're up against, and we'll be able to beat him by doing things like just c-betting a very polarized range. I think this is real close. If I had any reads about Villain, basically whether or not I want to bet this is depends on whether or not he check raises his draws. I mean, that's basically it. If I know he check calls his draws, then I bet for value. If I know he check raises his draws, then I check back and just play at a showdown value. I think I'm gonna err on the side of caution. He should be betting that card a lot, because it's much easier for him to rep a flush now than it is for us to rep. But we did under rep our hand, and we picked up, albeit a low flush draw, we picked up some equity against parts of his range. And yeah, if he checks here, maybe he just lets us get the showdown. His most likely hand, I think, is just crazy air, traps, and kings that are not going to fold. So we check against all that. I mean, checking makes the most sense against all of that. Yeah, so that's unfortunate, but my guess is if he misses the river, he probably bets, unless he really just doesn't know to do that, you know. So probably we weren't going to win the pot, no matter how things happen. I mean, if we bet the flop, we may or may not have taken it down even. But we had a small pair, and we got it to showdown by only calling one bet. And I think really overall, just strategy-wise, that's a win. That's a victory. Yeah, if I had the 6s and the 4 was on the board, I would bet for value. But as is, I will just check back. Because he's just not going to call me with anything that I beat, right? Even though I felt like I had the best hand the vast majority of the time, I just don't know what he's going to check and call with unless he has, if he gets really sticky with a King X, I guess maybe. Or maybe if he has Ace X and like pairs smaller than fours that weren't sets, if there were any of those. 3-9 against the 3 times the big blind raise. Do you think is a fold? I'm going to play with my bet sizing a bit here. I'm just going to try raising bigger with better hands and see if he goes for it. See if he exploits me. I mean, most people will do, even if they pick up on that, is they will simply start calling less frequently, you know, and have a tighter range when you bet big. But that's not really exploiting you. I mean, that's what they would do. That's what they ought to do, you know. That's what they're supposed to do. It's not really hurting you if they just tighten up against your 3x raises. You know, that's fine. But some people won't. And what you won't see too much of is people just relentlessly, geez, oh Pete's, stubbornly attacking your min raises when you've partitioned your range in a kind of binary fashion where you're just strictly raising bigger with your bigger hands and smaller with your smaller hands. To exploit you, what they should do is they should make really big 3-bets against your min raises. But I don't know if I've ever seen it. It usually doesn't happen. Yeah, and I will min raise some hands, but I'm gonna start off at least min raise opening the hands that I can call a 3x 3-bet with, just for starters. See if he's attacking them. So they will be hands that would prefer to play in a smaller stack to pot ratio, but can afford to call a 3-bet and don't mind fold, and don't mind playing at least a raised or an open pot in position. So hands like Jack 9, Jack 10, 8-6 suited, you know, 4-3 suited, 5-4 suited type stuff. 10-9, good example here. Let's go to a min raise. And I would think he would have 3-bet me if he had a bunch of this stuff in his range, especially seeing me go to a min raise. Plus we've got a gut shot, so, and position. Most of the time, if he calls here, I'm going to take a free card on the turn, barring improvement or a massive scare card. That would have been a bet. Okay. Two overcards, backdoor flush draw, 3 to a straight. It's worth a bet. And it's discombobulated. It's hard for him to really have a big piece here. We'll barrel this. Should we barrel this? No, I think we're going to take the free card here. I would expect that he would expect us to barrel our flush draws, so So once he checks the river, I expect he's going to pay off. I mean, he should have been blasting at the river or calling the river with most of the hands that he can call me with on the flop. I mean, just period, like he should be. Just about no matter what he had, that was a mistake the way he played it. I can't think of any hands that make sense to play that way. But, you know, I'm not always right. Well, that was kind of a shit check back. What's he checking back? I don't know. He shouldn't be checking back much on this flop. Maybe ace highs. I think I've got a check call here. And if he does check the river, then I bet for value. now I think I can either check call or I can just lead. I don't think it's gonna matter much. I don't expect him to raise me light, and I expect he's gonna bet about the same range he calls with. So I want to be sure. I think I want to set the price. So that's the sizing that I'd like to see go in. So he probably has an ace there most of the time. Yeah, we'll see if we can just pink it up to a 3 times the big blind open. Without him adjusting, seems like it's having no effect, and he did in fact have the ace. So he may have been sensible enough to check that back, and if he would have been sensible enough to check it back on the river, then we definitely made a great river lead there. I think we have to call. We're under repped. We've got 2 overcards and the best no pair hand, plus he has a ton of bluffs in his range, but they all just got there pretty much, I think, so we just fold. I mean, not all of them, obviously. The club flush bricked off, but straights and flushes galore made it. And for sure, you can have a pair that he's value betting, like a 9. He should be value betting a 9. I think we 3-bet for value here. Against most players, King Jack heads up is a 3-bet. If you've decided that you need to make your 3-bet range very polar, in other words, if your opponent is never flat calling your 3-bets, he's folding a ton, and then the rest of the time he's 4-betting, or even if he's just folding a ton, then you can polarize and probably should polarize. If your opponent is playing very raise or fold against your 3-bets, which could be the case at the stack depth for sure. Some players will definitely be that way at the stack depth. Then, if that's the case, you ought to polarize your 3-bet range. But against an unknown player who we suspect might be a little bit fishy, we should have a linear, value-heavy, kind of merged 3-bet range, especially versus the button when we are out of position. I think we have a C-bet here. We haven't been like crazy with our C-bets, so we should get a little more respect, but it is a textured board, so it'll hit him some of the time. He definitely will hit the call button some, but we'll have we'll pick up equity on some turns. We've got the overcard, we've got 3 to the flush, we've got 3 to some straights that won't be fantastic, but 3 to the flush, and I think I sensed some hesitance on his part to put that money in, but I still think checking back because it's the 2 of spades. Like if this was the 8 of spades, the 9 of spades, the king of spades, the ace of spades, I'm definitely betting all those cards, but I think I will check back on the 2 of spades, take the free card, and hope to bink the river. And this should be a more disguised river binking, but it is 4 to the flush. I mean, he's either got a flush or he doesn't, right? And I don't think he's going to call with less than a flush, and I don't think he's going to fold a flush, so we're going to overbet slightly. Nah. I think we'll give him the illusion of fold equity in case he just decides to get crazy. What's that going to take? About that. Maybe get a hero call out of 2 pair. Or like the 3 of spades might have been elastic. Ah, brutal. That's so awful at 10 blinds. What did you have before that, sir? That's the question. King 9, and he did not have 2 pair, and I'm sure was quite elastic. It was a pretty bad call. So he's not thinking about our hand range. He's not thinking about our line or what it means or anything like that. Yes, our hand was somewhat disguised. We did check back when a lot of people would have barreled because they picked up equity. This could be a jam against most regulars, but I would prefer just to see a flop against this guy with a hand that tends to flop pretty good. God, I lost my train of thought thinking about the hand. Shit. So gross. I mean, he should have a lot of draws when he does that, right? Or like single top pairs. How are we doing against a single top pair? Not quite a flip. We've got the overcard, 3 to straight, flush draw. That's the non-nut flush draw. I'm calling it off. Does have top pair, and we do get there. Right. I would like to. I'm gonna have to poker stove that and see if that was the correct call. We had one overcard. If we assume that he's got like top pair with a decent kicker, and we assume that it's just for whatever reason not a king. Like if he had king 10, chances are he's gonna get it in pre-flop, right? So he has like queen 10, jack 10, 10 something, 10x, just a naked 10 where our king is live and like runner 8 stuff is live. So he doesn't have 8 10. If we just assume that he has a 10x, and well, that would mean that we've got, of course, he's going to have some weird backdoor stuff and some runner stuff some of the time also. So let's just get rid of the fact that we've got the backdoor straight draw and running 8s and stuff like that, and just think about our 1 over card plus 9 flush outs. So we've got 9 outs to the flush, and we've got 3 kings. So that's 12 outs times 2 is 24. That's 24, right around 24% on the turn. Or I'm sorry, on the river, and just a little bit less than that. So I think we had yeah. It just off off the top of my head here, it feels like we had like 40%, 40%, maybe like 41%, taking a total guess. And we were definitely getting the right pot odds if that is the case. It was close, but I was feeling lucky, punks. So until next time, guys. Over and out. Laters. Damn it. I mean,